Welcome to an emergency edition, a breaking news edition of Pod by the Bay. Reports have been coming in all morning and throughout the early afternoon that Michael Kelly, the VP of Athletics at USF, will be leaving to take the same position at Navy. So, gentlemen, first initial reaction. Now, Steeg, I think you called this. I don't remember. I don't remember where. If it was on the podcast or in the Discord, but you did jokingly say that last time you left the country, something good happened. This time, something bad that was equally as large would happen.
Yep.
So another feather in your cap here, Steve.
I'm full of just accolades at this point. But yeah, I've been looking for my messages for this because I've been trying to find where I said it. Because I said it almost jokingly that either Michael Kelly was going to get fired or Michael Kelly was going to leave, and I don't remember which one. But yeah, once again, it's my fault. I kind of kept up with everything that was happening while I was gone, and it was very quiet, all things considered, during my time off. So when I got back home last night and realized nothing awful had happened, like, maybe we got off scot-free, and then like promptly at 9 a.m. as if they were waiting for me.
People in the chat are asking. Yeah, people in the chat are asking, how could Steeg do this to us? Paul Rader asks.
I'm a divine God. Sometimes I give it, and sometimes I take it. I'm
the wrath of Steeg. So oh, wait a second, I'll call it. I see you just took a bite of something. I think my first question here is, or I guess the first thing we can talk about is, I think a lot of initial reactions from people are Navy is a lateral move or a move back. I think there's a few things on this. It seems like, from what we've been able to gather, that Navy athletic director made a pretty good bit of money. Yeah. And Michael Kelly is from the area. His dad is a graduate at the Naval Academy. You could see, I still remember the 2019 game where USF went up and played at Navy. His dad was there. It was a big deal for him to be back there in an athletic director capacity. So I think he has a lot of good feelings about the place and about the area. That's where he's from. So if you factor those kind of feelings in of maybe being able to go home.
Did I lose somebody here? I think I did.
You're frozen, but we can hear you. So if you factor in, I think the emotional side of it with the possibility of a raise, I don't know. And I'm sure it wasn't just for money, because I would think USF would try to match up to a point. But then also, like, this athletic director is becoming so much more involved with NIL, and that's becoming so much more important in probably the day-to-day. And that's not really an issue at Navy. So
yeah,
probably a better work-life balance as well. So it's kind of like, it kind of checks three boxes for you if you're Michael Kelly.
Yeah, for sure. This makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of jobs that MK probably would have left this for, because he is so qualified to do so many different things. AAC commissioner, Wake Forest ADO job opens. There's probably a bunch, but this is certainly one of them that makes a lot of sense. I think what we can do is say thank you, wish him well. I think overall, he leaves the program in a much better spot than he found it. That is for sure. And I think that's all you can ever ask of any athletic director. Go ahead.
That's going to be my next question. Kind of what is before we kind of look forward, what is the legacy of Michael Kelly going to be? Is it somebody that kind of was able to stabilize the program and move it forward? Is it kind of remains to be seen how some of these recent hires hit? Or is it basically like, hey, the facility upgrades were so tremendous that the hirings aren't as kind of it's important in the long run?
I think how Hodgson and Golish end up will certainly affect his legacy. But even if they both crashed and burned, getting the money in for getting the facility up and improving the facilities the way he leaves the program in a better position. Obviously, we are not in the ACC, and we are not in the Big 12. But he was laying the groundwork to put us in that direction. And I think the new hire, that will be, the job title will be 1, 2, and 3, get us into a better league. That's going to be what the mission is. And you're going to be in a much better position to do that than MK was when he got here, when he was left a pretty steaming pile. So I think that's, if he ends up being historically the transition guy who got us in a good spot, I think that's probably a good thing. So, congrats to him. I'm very happy for him. I haven't talked to him, obviously. But I'm very happy for him that he gets to go to a place that he cares about. Annapolis is beautiful. It's just, if you've ever, we've all been there. That campus is, or the yard, excuse me, is great. It's a great city. You're still reasonably close to places like Baltimore and DC if you need to go see a show or do something in a bigger city or whatever. And he's from that area of the country, so I think he'll be really happy. And good for him. That's a good thing.
Steve,
I do want to let you guys.
Oh, go ahead.
I do want to let you. I was going to say I do want to let you guys know that I'm probably going to leave here in about 10 minutes. So I've just put myself on a 10-minute clock here.
Okay. Steve, real quick, what do you think the Michael Kelly's legacy is going to be?
Yeah, I mean, it's as kind of Collin mentioned. I think the best word that you can talk to is stability. That was stability and alignment, right? Those were the two things that we kind of talked about when we initially, hired him on from Mark Harlan, because under Mark Harlan, there was a lot of turmoil. There was a lot of tumultuous hirings and firings and yada, yada, yada. And frankly, I mean, the program as a whole was an absolute dumpster fire. Financials were upside down, and there was no positive momentum happening in any key revenue areas. And for USF to be able to find those key revenue areas and then continue into a positive direction, even when now you're kind of barely at the cusp of what most people would consider to be a successful athletic program, which is winning football games and winning basketball games. You had to dig through a lot of crap to get there and deal with a lot of crap to get there as well. And I think that's the important part to remember is, sometimes you look at the current, now of what's going on, losing sight of where you were. And there's a lot of people who have lost sight of where USF was 7 years ago. I mean, that program very easily could have been one that folded and just been done. And just there's no point in investing in athletics. But they found the point in investing in athletics, and that's the important kind of lineage that Michael Kelly is going to leave. Again, it's unfortunate because he's probably just going to end up being the transition guy, right? He's the guy that had to do all the legwork and everything because the new athletic director that'd be coming in has basically a layup alley-oop opportunity. You have a very difficult upcoming football schedule. You have a basketball coach who looks like they're recruiting on fire right now. And then you're building a lot of positive momentum in most of your other sports as well, all laid down by the previous guy. So the next person that comes in is probably just going to be like, oops, we finally got into the ACC. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that will be that was probably the one big thing left on the table is not making the move and realignment. So I think that may end up being like a big part of how his legacy plays out in the future. If USF makes the jump eventually, then he will obviously lay the groundwork for that jump to happen. If they don't make it, you'll probably see people point back to the Jeff Scott miss being a pivotal miss in football and kind of delaying things for 3 years. So it's kind of remains to be seen, a lot of it, but there's no doubt in terms of facilities and department alignment and the program is moving in the right direction. Collin is in an airport at the moment. So,
Sir,
all right,
I'm in the Capital One Lounge at Las Vegas International.
There you go. So I want to move forward a little bit. So, first question, and this one I'll get some of these out of the way because Collin, you got to leave. But first question, obviously with no president at the moment, will it be guys like Will Weatherford and Mike Griffin that will be making the hire for athletic director? And if so, is that the crew you'd like to? Would you like them to make the hire of athletic director before president gets in? Like, is that the crew you want making that hire? With seeing how aggressive they are on the stadium side and that kind of thing.
Yes, and we'll see.
Yeah.
I do think it'll be well in my kind of point here. That's my, that's, I can't imagine who else it would be because we have an outgoing president. Whether they're going to wait to hire a president and then hire an athletic director, I think is the interesting question. And that is especially now with what happened at UF a couple of days ago, and everyone that I've talked to, that's the first thing that everybody talks about is what happened at UF. So if you're not familiar, Santa Ono was set to become the president at the University of Florida. The University of Florida Board of Trustees approved it. And then the statewide Board of Governors, by a vote of 10-6, said, no, you will not be the next president because you are not conservative enough. You have invested in things like DEI and the environment. And things
So
like
will that have
in the
any
past.
bearing on athletic director hire?
Yes, it will. Because
They have to be
people,
approved by the Board of Governors?
the AD hire does not have to be approved by the Board of Governors, but you
So would
AD
you imagine
that's-
that AD would be hired before the president then?
that's the thing is I don't know. I think I don't know what order they want to do this, and that's going to be up to Will and Mike as to how they want to handle it. But I will say, you probably scared a lot of people off in terms of the candidate search now. But not by USF's fault, but by the state's fault. Because first of all, what university president is going to want to put themselves out there and go through the process and then get absolutely burned the way Ono did, who is now without a job and has been humiliated publicly, even after he was approved by the university. That's going to be a problem. And then what athletic director is going to want to work for a president who had to go through that process? You know what I mean? So that's the issue here, is that the hiring practices in the state of Florida are definitely going to be an issue. USF is still a very good job. People are going to want this job. It is a good football job. There is enough money. There's enough interest. You can get this team to the next level. Have we lost Seth? I believe we have lost Seth.
It looks like we lost Seth momentarily.
Okay. So it is still a good job. It is still a job people are going to want. I would think, this is a guess at this point, from people that I've talked to this point, my guess is that they will probably hire an athletic director before they hire a president, because this presidential search process has been backed up because of the UF search process. So I think we might see an AD before a president. And I do think that because of everything that's happened, I do think USF will use a search firm here for the athletic director hire, just because you're going to want all your I's dotted, T's crossed, and all your background checks done. And also, the search firms give you a bit of plausible deniability to whom you're talking. And because of what happened, I think the plausible deniability will be even more important, because people aren't going to want to invest themselves in a state of Florida school if they know that publicly they could get very, very far down the line and then get humiliated. Even if it's an athletic director hire, and do I think, is it like an overwhelming, overdefining issue? Probably not, but it's definitely going to be an issue.
So everyone might have dropped out. Looks like I'm back on here.
You're back, Seth.
Oh, did everybody drop? Did I just drop out? It was just me?
It was just you.
Yeah, we lost you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now you're back.
All right. Yeah, I didn't jump on my phone. The old storm.
Collin, to your point, there's a bad storm overhead right now. Ironic. And Collin, to your point, and to kind of delve a little bit further into the current nature, because I see a lot of people talking about how USF, quote unquote, USF is screwed because they don't have a president or a VP of athletics right now. And in reality, really those are just kind of titles right now. And I'm going to explain why here in a second. While we currently are pending a new president in that search form, you still have Ray Law and the rest of the board of